I mean, this actually leads on really nicely onto my first point, which is, and I'll start this with a question to you, Matt.
Yeah.
Do you believe in aliens?
Yes.
You do?
Well, yeah, because it's for me an alien. Like I'm a big Star Wars fan, as I've said before. Yeah, so an
Right.
alien is basically like a creature from another planet,
Yeah.
and as we've sort of already proved that there are hundreds of other, if not thousands of other planets are out there, and there are some that are very similar sort of climate and sort of environment to ours. There
Yeah.
probably will be equivalent to us somewhere.
Some form
It's
of
just
life.
some form of life, exactly, but it's
Okay.
just so far away
So,
we've not
so,
found them.
so
Yeah.
with that, like things like UFO spottings and things like that, do you think they're real? A lot of the ones that you've ever seen on the news?
No, that's the contradiction with that. I believe that they're aliens, but I think a lot of these things, um, I don't believe in the man who thinks, oh, I've just been taken somewhere and they've taken me kidneys out and like that sort of thing. That for me is too much. I think
Well,
it can be explained by aircraft, like
yeah.
testing and stuff like that, because you often find that, and correct me if I'm wrong with this, the people that will say, oh yeah, they took me and blah, 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 it's often in places that are very near to Air Force bases and that sort of stuff. And yeah.
Well, I mean, this all stems from there's a show on Netflix called Unsolved Mysteries. The key word there for me is unsolved.
Because it's a lie.
Yeah. Which I was recommended by friend of the show. He's been on before, Mark. Maybe we'll call this something. I don't know. Question mark is an
Oh,
idea that
mate,
I had.
that question mark is lovely.
Question mark.
Yeah.
Um, and he said to me and a few of our other friends to watch this show. He said, you need to see what it's all about. And there's I think there's 5 or 6 different episodes in the docu-series, and they all specify on different subjects. And there's this one about this UFO spotting in 1969 in Massachusetts, right?
Right.
And you have like, I think there's 3 or 4, maybe 5 people that all claim that on the 1st of September 1969 that they saw a UFO. Well, when they
Okay.
say they saw a UFO, it was this strong beam of light, and they were all within kind of a stone's throw of Massachusetts, all in
Hmm.
different little areas. And all of them on this one particular night claim that they saw the same thing. Some of them say they had a blackout and can only remember parts of it, but it lasted like 3 hours. One of them reckons that a beam of light shot upon him, and next thing you know, he was on this spacecraft, whatever it was, right?
Yeah.
And also saw a woman, or at the time, because he was younger, a girl. And this same girl is saying that she remembers all of this, but doesn't remember seeing him, but he remembers
Mm.
seeing her. So you've got these 4 or 5 different people that are accounting for a very similar thing, all on the same night. None of them reported it.
Yeah.
Some of them apparently phoned into a local radio station to talk about it, but the tapes have since been overwritten,
Mm.
um, which I think is a bit strange. Surely that would be something you get. None of them actually explained on the documentary what happened to them, either because they can't remember or
So how's that work then? Oh, something happened, but
yeah,
I don't know. I don't really know what it was.
yeah. For me, and I raised this, there was a lot of red flags.
Yeah.
I mean, they claim that they don't know each other. None of these people. Although one of the women, the woman who said that she was on the spacecraft, and the guy said he saw her on there with him.
Yeah.
She said, "Oh, we never really knew each other, or we never hung about in the same crowds, or like something like that," which was a little bit dubious.
Yeah.
But there was there was a lot of things on there. I mean, I'm personally not a believer in that sort of thing. Potentially that there's other life forms, yes, I think that's not too far fetched. But the
Mm.
whole UFO thing and spottings for me is a bit out there. Um, one of the things that Mark said, I'm just trying to find what it was that his fault on it all was that it's either that they're all lying, which he thinks is a bit dubious and a bit doubtful. It was a mass delusion, a government experiment, or aliens. And he said, I can't think of anything else. But just on the principle of what I've just told you, the other thing that I'll add to it is there was a few of the characters that were a little bit out there.
Right.
And that, for me, is another little sign that, these could be a bit crackers.
Well, it ties into a couple of things, actually. There's on Disney Plus, there's a program which I think is called Brain Games. I'm sure it's called Brain Games. And it's all about sort of how your mind works and how vision works and that sort of thing. And how sort of magicians use sleight of hand and all of that sort of stuff. Really interesting series. But one of the things it covers on there, which is unrelated to this, but it could explain what happened, is they get a group of people and they recreate a mugging. So they recreate that this guy is having an argument with a woman, and then some guys come and nick his camera, I think, something like that, and run off. And they take it from that point to then having a detective interviewing the people, and then sort of put a jury together, and they sort of talk about what they saw and all this sort of stuff. And it shows you that how people can be led in what they've seen. Like it will be, someone will say, oh yeah, they were definitely wearing a white coat. And then, based on that one thing, that three others will say, oh yeah, I agree, it was a white coat. Even though when they were interviewed straight after, they'd said, oh, it was a green coat. And then things like that, it's quite easy for the mind to get distracted more than anything else. It won't take in all the information, and then it just fills the gaps with what it feels like it needs to take. So if you've got, imagine if me and you are out and we look at something in the sky and think, oh, what's that? Whatever it is, don't think about it. And then we see on the news that some guy's saying, I saw an alien. No, I saw a spaceship, and it was in the sky. And me and you are thinking, well,
maybe that's what we saw. Yeah.
And then he's saying, oh, it had lights, and we're thinking, oh yeah, actually, I remember that. It can go that way.
Isn't that something like suggestibility or something like that? I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, maybe.
And again, linked to the conversation we had last night in our chat about this TV show, was like people who think things like Derren Brown, for example.
Yeah.
There's some people that believe that the people that he has on his gigs and TV shows are actors, and they can't believe that he can read minds and manipulate people in that way. But again, there is that other thing of suggestibility, that you could throw out a name or throw out a colour or something like that someone has a connection with and can go, oh yeah, he must be talking about me.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And it's not that he knows, it's just, you either go obscure, you go simple, and the kind of the simpler stuff is what people will connect with, I think.
Yeah.
But this show, I mean, let's just say, it didn't end with an agreement, in that I believe that it was, and I feel there is, because the question came back at me, which was, what is there to gain? I was like, well, one of my friends said attention, another one, and I said, they're going to get paid to do this. You know what I mean? If they've got people like me watching it and other people watching it, then they're going to get some sort of royalties for doing this TV show.
I agree with it. I think you've got that situation. I'm sure there probably are some who get a bit of fame out of it, I suppose, don't they? And they probably get a buzz out of having that recognition or whatever. But it reminded me, you saying this, that I think it was recently, and I need to look into this, that a group of UFO enthusiasts or whatever had got together and campaigned to have, I think there was a particular piece of footage released, or got the US government's comment on it, and they confirmed that it was a UFO and they didn't know what it was. And like the government actually confirmed, we don't know what this thing is. And I think it was a stereotypical, like you see in the TV, and there was, a fighter plane flying along and they saw something in the camera and it got recorded and that. And I think one of the people that was involved in this was one of the guys from Blink 182.
Right.
So I think he's really into it. I don't know which one, but I'm sure he was involved with it as well.
Well, maybe that because they did show something about that at the end of this episode where there was it whatever this thing was, it flew, and again, it's kind of grainy footage, but
Yeah.
you saw something and it flew apparently between these two fighter jets, so
Yeah.
that might be linked to it. But yeah, I mean, yeah,
Tom DeLonge.
Tom DeLonge, yeah. Wasn't
Yeah.
he that he used to be the lead singer? I think he's the one who isn't there anymore.
Yes, I
Who
recognise
is
him.
in the band Aliens and Airwaves? Angels and Airwaves.
And he's a UFO researcher now.
There you go. What a changing career.
Exactly. Who knows?
But yeah, it was a bit bizarre, but
the thing is, with this sort of stuff, I want to believe it as well. It's not like being a sci-fi fan and being, adamant that there has got to be other things out there. If we exist, there's got to be an equivalent somewhere.
Yeah.
We can't be unique. We can't be in a galaxy full of planets and solar systems and think, well, we're special and it's only us. If there are other life forms, they might not look how we look. It could be that they're like insects. You don't know, but depending on the environment.
You just want some sort of hard evidence, though, don't you?
Exactly.
That's the thing. Rather than just taking someone's word for it. Don't get me wrong, the scenario, and I think this is where Mark was coming from, the fact that all 6, 5, whatever, how many people it was, said that they saw the same thing on the same night.
Yeah.
Yes, it is interesting and intriguing that they all, and if they were telling the truth, then wow.
Yeah.
But I think there still wasn't enough for me.
No.
From the information, and you check it out. You should check it out just to get your personal thoughts.
What's that on?
That's on Netflix. That is.
Netflix.
It's called Unsolved Mysteries.